Welcome to Date Like a French Woman, the podcast where we approach dating as a sacred healing journey rather than a quest. Welcome to a new episode of Date Like a French Woman, the podcast where you learn to approach dating more like a healing journey rather than a quest. Today, my guest is going to talk to you about your relationship with food, which is very important because many women who are dating think that they have to have this perfect body in order to attract the love that they want, and that's not true. Her name is Lauren Ciesco, and I'm going to put my glasses to read her bio. Lauren is a self-proclaimed personal growth and spirit junkie turned mindset coach on a mission to help women master their vibes, find their freedom with food, and take their lives to the next level. For over 2 decades, Lauren was stuck in vicious cycles of limiting belief and self-sabotaging behaviors that kept her stuck and looking for happiness and fulfillment outside of herself until she woke up one day and decided there are there has to be more to life, and went out looking for answers. And she found those answers, and today we're going to pick her brain. So welcome, Lauren. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be on your show. Not only do I love talking about helping women with food, but especially I love marrying that with talking about dating and food, because men like food is like that thing that women look for that's outside of themselves that is not necessarily the answer. So they're very, very relatable. So I love talking about both of them together.
Absolutely. And food is a very touchy subject for all of us. Before we start, I would like to know a little bit about your journey. How did you end up doing what you're doing today? What's your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So my story, I actually can remember like the exact day that my journey started. It was March 18th, 2013. And I woke up one day and I just hated who I was in that moment. And I knew that who I was in that moment was just a residual effect of my past thoughts, my past thinking. And I knew that I could change. And so I woke up and I actually on that day decided that I was going to give up dating and men and sex for a whole year, because I thought that a man was going to complete me. And that I thought that I was looking for something outside of myself, which led me to a whole, just using food, using, drugs, alcohol, things outside of me, thinking that I was going to be happy when I found the man, when I was thin, when I had the money. And so my life was really a residual effect of looking for things outside of me instead of the fulfillment in me. And I started with like my first detox was through men, because that was like the most prevalent, like I knew in my life I wasn't making good choices. And then from there, I realized that it had to do more with like food and other aspects of my life. And so I got into spirituality. I started studying every self-help book you could possibly think. I just really created, I was just so passionate about learning. I just knew there was more to life than that. And I feel like a lot of people get stuck where they're like, oh my gosh, it's like that hamster wheel of waking up every day and that not feeling fulfillment. And it's really the inside a job, the fulfillment part. And then I've always struggled with binge and emotional eating my whole life. And so I was led to my coach, Brooke Castillo, who she really helped me with learning how to, that desire part of food and how the brain works. And then I realized it wasn't me. And a lot of the things with food is that people think that there's something wrong with our character, there's something wrong with us, but it's actually our brain science and the food itself. And so when I learned how it all comes together, I realized that there is a better way out there, that you can find freedom with food, with yourself, with men, with dating, and have it all just by learning how to really manage your mind, manage your emotions, claim who you are, claim your energy, heal yourself, and put it all out there. So that's kind of in a gist. That's really my story with, how I am where I am today.
And that's so true. Everything starts inside because we perceive the world with the filter of who we are. And people make themselves wrong because society tends to tell us that we are wrong. Something is wrong with us. We need that last diet. We need that last pill that will help us. And it goes in cycles. So you started cleaning your love life, which
Mhm.
helped you cleaning your food life.
Yeah.
That's perfect for our podcast, by the way.
Yes, I
Such
know.
a
That's
great
why
example.
I know, and I mean, I really specialize in helping women with finding freedom with food, but I think it's relatable, and I think,
Yeah.
when it cut, like for me, I was so into like thinking a man was going to complete me
Yeah.
that I didn't even like see my like underlying like self-sabotaging with behaviors, because what would happen is when a guy didn't call me back or a failed date or something like that, I would turn to food
Yes.
because I was so miserable. And so I use the word buffer. So I'm going to use the word buffer. I buffered out, and buffering out basically
Okay.
what it means is that instead of feeling what is real, you're avoiding a feeling by using food, alcohol, drugs, sex, men,
Okay.
social media, something where you're avoiding feeling. And so I spent all of my 20s and half of my 30s buffering out, not like sticking my head in the sand, because I didn't want to feel pain. I didn't want to feel bad. And I thought that the answers were always outside of
So
me.
it was like a coping mechanism.
Yes. Yes.
And what was your first step? Like if somebody is in your situation today and she has, because I know that personally, I also have like what you're describing, a problem with emotional eating. That's why I keep my mind on track with meditation and inner work constantly. Otherwise, every time there are challenges in life, I'm going to go to the comfort food.
Yes.
And I'm Jewish, so food equals love. So that's even worse. What would be the first step to take for a woman that is in your situation, like stuck and using food as a emotional comfort or a buffer?
Yeah. I think the very first step is just desiring change, to being like, this is it. And I think the most important thing is that you make a choice, because we always have a choice to either continue to stay where we are, or we make that choice that, hey, I want to change, I don't want to do this anymore. So I think the very, very first thing is to realize that it's a choice, and that you don't have to be like that anymore, and that there is a way out. I think after you claiming that and realizing that you're done and that you don't want to do that anymore, I think that the next step is the combination of tuning inwards to ourselves, and really starting to get into that, like, I guess intuition is what I would say, or
Yeah.
spirit, in that meditation where you're coming inward and we're getting out of our heads. However, I think that's also, one of the things that is different about me than a lot of other coaches is I like to take this practical science with tools and marry it with spirituality.
Yes.
I think it's a combination of both, because I think it's, the first thing is like going inwards, but the next thing is to get up and figure out what is going on in your mind and what
Yes.
you're thinking. So the coaching tool that I use is that basically it says everything in life is neutral, but our thinking about something, about that neutral circumstance, is going to either make us feel good or make us feel bad. And then that feeling is going to cause an action, and that action is going to cause a result. So it always goes back to our thinking. And it's our thinking which comes down to our beliefs and our identity. So it's about shifting your identity with food, shifting your identity with men, shifting your identity with where you're at, because when you're able to make that mental shift, everything else will follow along. And so that's really what I help, is helping rewire people's stories and rewiring people's minds, because it's one thing to decide to change, but what happens and what makes change hard and where people don't realize is that we have something in our brain called our criminal brain, or our lizard brain, and it's
Yeah.
where our habits and our subconscious are. And so
Yeah.
in order to make that permanent change, you also have to address your habits in your subconscious thinking.
Yes.
It's going to do what it's used to doing. And when you're used to using food emotionally, or going after the wrong man, and when you're used to doing something for so long, you have to break the habit of being yourself. And so there's a combination of rewiring your beliefs, your beliefs, and then really working on those habits and staying consistent. So it's definitely a process that I take most of my clients through that help with both parts to make it automatic and to eventually make it easy, which is where
Yeah,
that freedom comes in. Because when people try to change and it's difficult and they
they're
can't,
gonna
they're like,
give
oh,
up.
I think something's wrong with me, but
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with them. No one's talking about the brain science, no one talking about the belief systems, and that's
And
when you change that, that's where permanent change
it
comes.
is. It is about, and for what I've seen with myself and my clients, it starts with the story that you tell yourself.
Yes.
Because to me, I'm very big on self-love in everything I teach, everything I do, and even for myself. When you tell yourself a story that I remember working in a company where we had access to the executive chef. So all the French pastries that you wanted. Every morning for breakfast. After 2 months of working there, I put some weight on. And I said, okay, that cannot continue. And fortunately, I knew what I knew. So I started really working on self-love, not even on food. And what I noticed is that those mornings where I was face to face with the croissants and all the French pastries, and I was centered in my self love, centered in the fact that I love myself too much to touch that. It was the easiest thing to do.
Oh, I
So
love that.
and like you say, the brain, we are 95% of the time on subconscious mode, which means who's running the show? That reptilian brain. And if the reptilian brain is saying love, like for me, love equals food or food equals love, and you're lacking love now, you've been rejected in that date, so go get love there, that's what you're going to do, unless you can develop some awareness in the moment where you're
Yeah.
going to stop yourself and start telling yourself a different story. So that's terrific what you're doing.
Yeah, no, you got it. And it is about that awareness. I think that's the hardest part, because
Yes.
to have awareness to be able to stop it. And I think that's where a spiritual practice can come in really
Yes.
handy, with like meditation and that self-love of like constantly being at it. But it takes time, it takes time to break that brain science, and it takes time. And what's the right word? I like to say it's like almost a skill set of like knowing. And so what I say is like, here's where somebody starts. This is like their current beliefs, their current thoughts, and they want to end up over here. But what's in between these two versions of yourself is what I call the river of misery, which is you changing and you being willing to be uncomfortable, because you
Yeah.
have to go through the discomfort, and because you're becoming a different version, you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And it's in that discomfort that people take one or two steps in and they're like, nope, I can't do this. And they go back, and that's why they stay stuck, because they don't have the skill set. And it's just skill sets and awareness to be willing to go through it to get to the other side. And then when you get to the other side, there's freedom, and like it's
Yes.
automatic and it's so much easier. And it's just a short period of time, but it's just a small little shift you can make.
And what I see also is that you need to know the tool, and you need to know that you're going to have to repeat it and repeat it
Yes.
and repeat it to change the neural pathways in your brain, so that you start anchoring. It's like a trail in the grass. When you start walking a new way, there won't be a trail yet until you walk there enough times where it's going to be created, and the old one is going to disappear under the new grass. So it's a little bit like that with the brain. And the brain is a magnificent machine. The problem is that we don't use it for us, and we use it sometimes against us because we don't know what to do. How do you, what is like one little exercise that you give your clients to start retraining their brain and installing new pathways regarding food?
Absolutely. I think, well, like I said, it all starts with that identity. Well, let me just step back a moment before
Yeah.
we talk about the programming, because I always say this: when you go to try on clothes, when you're going clothes shopping, you always take off the old clothes before putting on the new clothes. And it's the same thing with beliefs, because our beliefs are so ingrained that you really have to identify the beliefs that are holding you back. So I think that the first step is actually to like realize what is not working for you and what you need to let go of.
So again, awareness.
Awareness, that like letting go of. Then what you do is that then you get really intentional, and then you decide, okay, what am I going to think today? And then I have my clients every morning. I have like I call it thought work is what I have my clients do in the morning, where they set an intention for the day. So a lot of them are working with, losing weight, getting off of emotional eating, stopping from binge eating. So their intention for the day might be, hey, I'm going to stick to my protocol, which is just a way that they chose to eat. Like I'm not going to eat off my protocol. And so I would ask them, okay, what thoughts would you need to think in order to do that? Which is, I'm choosing to eat on my protocol because I love myself. Like I know that food, I don't want this urge for food anymore, or I am strong, or there's like certain sentences or power phrases that you need to say to yourself throughout the day to continue to commit to what you want to do for that day. So first thing is getting really intentional, writing down the thoughts, like, hey, here's the results I want. And it's called the model, the coaching tool that I use. So the results is to stick to protocol. The actions would be to, eat, pre-plan your meals so that you know exactly what you're not like wasting. And I only have my clients pre-plan their meals 24 hours in advance. So we're not doing these long, extensive food plans that I think sometimes aren't very helpful to people because you don't know what you're going to do the next day. So it's only 24 hours in advance do I have people plan. And then the feelings, like what would you need to feel to stick to your plan? Well, you're going to have to feel confident. You're going to have to feel love for yourself. You're going to have to feel committed. You're going to have to feel determined. Okay, so what do you need to think in order to feel those feelings? Well, I'm going to have to feel like I am strong. I got this. Like, I don't want that food. I don't need that food. I can't wait till I look great in that dress, whatever it is. And so that's the process. You work backwards. What are the results you want? And what do you need to get there? So it's like a roadmap for the day. And then what I do is I have my clients set alarms on their phone to go off whenever they need it. I personally have my alarms go off almost every hour because we go back into that thinking so easily.
Yes.
So every hour my phone goes off and I remember it. It's just that oh, okay, who am I stepping into? And I think the process is getting connected to your future self that already has the results and staying in this beautiful dialogue with that version of yourself.
Yeah.
And that really helps my clients too. So I think it's definitely a process of pre-planning your thoughts, getting very intentional, and then reminding yourself throughout the day. And then if you do that for a couple weeks, you will change. And it's crazy. It happens overnight. One day you wake up and you're just like, oh wait, I don't want that food, or I don't have the cravings, or I don't want that. It happens like so fast.
And so one thing that I noticed, I personally struggle with, and some of my clients struggle with too, because we also reverse engineer. We look at the result that they get in their dating life, and we go backward and see what would I have to think in order to create that kind of results. And even if it's not the exact thought that is behind the curtain of your conscious mind, it doesn't matter. It's something in the area. That's why it's so marvelous, because even if you change a word or you're not exact, it works anyway. So you start working on identifying the belief that is creating that result, and then creating affirmations amongst other tools to change, to go in the opposite way.
Yeah.
What happens sometimes is, so we say we change overnight. What I experience is that I sometimes, until a habit is fully installed, fully set in my brain, the pathways are created, there is a period where it's almost like a little flower growing. If somebody's going to walk on it, it's going to die. So you need to be really, really careful to put something around it to keep it in life, alive. And so you fall off the wagon. Let's say you go one day and you have that croissant or that sandwich or whatever. Women beat themselves up like crazy, and they think that they negated all the days that they've done before that, and it's not worth it. They ruined it. That's it. That's a phenomenon that I see a lot, because same thing, we are taught black and white. We're taught success or failure. There is nothing really in the gray area of the middle that teaches us to navigate those days where, well, you have a falling off the wagon and you're going to go for what you said you wouldn't do anymore. Do you have a tool that helps them, or a sentence or anything you do that helps them not beat themselves up and go back to self-love and go back to where they were before? Forgive that incident.
Yeah, I love this question because I feel like there's like most of my clients, we spend a lot of our time in this area. I actually call this all or nothing thinking, or even just
Yes.
delusional thinking, because it really does. And what I do is, with my coaching tools and the model, I show how these thoughts are always going to lead to the same thing, which is them overeating or going off their protocol and getting back into that cycle that they're trying to get off of. So the solution for that is, I'm going to go back a little bit. I
Yeah.
think as a culture in America, we have this diet culture, and
Yeah.
we have this diet mentality where diets make things good and bad. They make things right and wrong. And there's like you
Yes.
said, black and white. And so part of my program, part of what I do is we actually address all of the diet culture thoughts that are keeping you stuck, and we give you new language. So we just like take away all of those like things that are not
So
working,
great.
because it's the way that we're programmed as a society to think about things. And so what I do is I really work with making everything as a lesson and not a failure. There's
Yeah.
no, like, you cannot fail at all. Everything is either happening for you to move you forward.
Yes.
And it's, once again, let's talk about the thoughts. Like, you can be like, oh, I ate a croissant, I'm so bad, like I can't do this, like something's wrong with me, and you go into this bad dialogue. That's one route. And I know a lot of people, and then they go, oh, well, I already screwed up, so I might as well just keep eating,
Yes.
or I'll start Monday,
Yes.
or and so that's the line of thinking they go.
Yeah.
What I teach people is that, okay, that incident happened, it's not a big deal. How can you use this instinct to learn so that you don't want to do it again? And so what I would do is I would have them look at their thoughts to figure out exactly what thoughts led them to eating that food. And then we realize, like, and then we go back and we look at, like, and once again, these are deep root beliefs. And then we'll look at the beliefs of like why they ate that. And then we'll figure out, okay, well, what can we do differently? And that's really the process that I take them through, is not looking at it as a good or bad, but looking at it, actually, this is moving you forward, because this is feedback that you need to think a different thought.
Yeah.
Now, I've been trying to find a time to bring this in, so I think I'm going to talk about it now. But the reason why people eat off their plans, and the reason I think a lot of people give into these things, is because they don't want to be uncomfortable and they're not willing to feel a feeling.
Yeah.
So as much as I've been talking a lot about thoughts right now, this is all about feelings.
Yes.
And it's all about emotions and thought work, because really what we're doing is that what happens is that you see that croissant and your brain goes, because it's wired like that, I want that, I need that, I need to have it, and it causes, that thinking causes an urge, like an actual like a feeling in your body. And I know you guys all know those urges, like, I need to have that now, like,
Yeah.
if I don't have it, it's going to be horrible. And the reason why they give in is because they are not wanting to sit with the discomfort of the urge.
Yes.
So a lot of the work, just as much as the work that I do on the mindset, is teaching people how to allow urges, how to sit with urges, and how to go on. So when somebody's giving in, or when somebody's, I don't even like to use falling off the wagon, because I think that sets you up for failure. Or if you eat off your protocol, it's always because you were, when I like really break it down and coach my people, it's because they were not willing to feel uncomfortable. Always, period.
Yeah.
That's the reason why people give in, they eat off their things, because it's easy to put on a piece of paper, hey, I'm going to eat this today, da, da, da. Everyone can plan. What is the difference is the follow through. And the follow through requires you to feel a certain way, and it requires you to be uncomfortable. So not only do I do a lot of mindset coaching and a lot of feelings, but like, I feel like one of my specialties, or what I'm known at, is teaching people how to be uncomfortable. Because when you're willing to be uncomfortable and sit with any feeling, that is confidence. Because if you think about it, if you can feel fear, if you can feel urges, you can feel discomfort, if you're okay with it, and you're not reacting like something's wrong with me, and you can just sit with it. And the craziest thing is it passes really fast, and you don't make anything.
Yes.
It gives you speed in life, and you can do anything. And that's why, like, I love my program, because it's not just about the food. It's about, because once you learn these skills, you can apply it to everything in your life. It's like, I want people to be like, now that I'm over these cravings, and like, I can handle these food cravings and I can handle my feelings. What's next? Because I'm not afraid of any feeling that comes my way. And as humans, what we do and what we don't do is based on how we think it's going to make us feel. We
Yeah.
want to lose weight because we think it's going to make us feel good. We want a man because we think it's going to make us feel good. We want anything we want is because
It's
of
all about it.
all about the feelings.
Yeah, because the brain is built to go towards pleasure and away from pain.
Yes.
So that's our natural reflex. But you're right. What I see, and it's also something we learn from society, because everything should be comfortable. No depression, quick, take a pill. Yeah. Antidepressant. No pain, take some kind of headache pill. And we are not taught that uncomfortable feelings are part of life. But anything that where you're growing has a period where you're going to be uncomfortable to a certain level. Yeah. And I coach women on dating, but lately I have a lot of women who come to me because they don't have the self-confidence or whatever it takes to start their business. Mm-hmm. So I recently did a class on self-confidence I had a student who was going to start a live video on Facebook or a live podcast. Mm-hmm. And she never could go. She could sit and she couldn't go further because she had this thing where she was not comfortable. And when you know, first of all, you know that you're going to feel that way. So you don't feel bad about not feeling, because there are all those programs, make 1 million in 15 weeks or whatever it is. Yeah. They don't tell you that you're going to have the fear, that you're going to have your amygdala is going to be activated. You're going to be stressed out. Everything is going to rise up to the surface. Yeah. When you know this is normal and it doesn't mean anything wrong about you, it takes another dimension and you can work with that. So I love your program. That's really, really powerful.
Yeah, and I love that you said that about you're like, oh, as a society, we're like, oh, we have a headache, take a pill or whatever. We're in it, and I always talk. I think it's a mental construct that I'm going to talk about right now. So we think that as humans, that like everything should be rainbows and daisies. Yes. Like everything should be happy, everything should feel good. However, I would like to challenge everybody out there. Just hang in there for me because I'm going to say a like little crazy statement, but I actually believe that life is meant to be 50-50. Now, if you think about it, 50-50, 50% positive emotions and 50% negative emotions. Because if you think about it, we have the yin and the yang. We have the light and the dark. We're, as life, like species, we have this balance, and what happens is that what we think is that life should be good all the time. And when it's not, what do? We use food, we use alcohol, we use social media, we use other things to raise our awareness, but it's false pleasures. Yeah. And so we get stuck into this like false pleasure
detour that we take.
Yeah. Exactly. And that like keeps us stuck, and it is because, and then we're doing like instant gratification after instant gratification, which has a negative net consequence on the backside of that. Now, when I say that life should be 50-50, what I'm saying too is that if you're doing it right, because a lot of people are like, well, I'm really a positive thinker, and I'm like really positive, so my life should be better. Well, my question to you is, are you using food? Are you buffering out? Like, what are you using to cover up to make your life better? Or your life, you're not living outside of your comfort zone and you're not evolving, because if you're comfortable and you're happy all the time, you're playing it safe. And so you're not fully living to your potential. So my thing is that you should always be at this 50-50, because purposely putting yourself in situations where you're uncomfortable for the process of growth. So to me, 50-50 is where everyone should be. And when you are okay with it being uncomfortable for 50% and you have the skill sets to do it, that's when you can create anything you want with your life, because you're constantly putting yourself on purpose in that discomfort, knowing that you can see yourself through it.
And for me, I don't even want to think about the percentage because I'm a number person. I did accounting. So to think 50-50 has an association in my brain of difficulty and even why bother or something like that. But I know that I will have challenges. I know. And spiritually, it makes sense because I'm here to grow. I wanted to, I don't know what the term in English, tailgate, whatever the name is, on something you said. Mm-hmm. That people think that because they're positive thinkers, everything is going to be easy.
Yes.
It's so untrue. And thank God it is untrue. Otherwise, the growth will stop. And even in the spiritual world,
Mhm.
people have this expectation that if I meditate every day, if I have compassion and I'm kind and all that, everything is going to be easy. That is not true. And the most spiritual people in the world have gone through the horrible, horrible events. And we, it's again that black and white picture, that all or nothing. When you know, like you're teaching your clients that you will be for the rest of your life uncomfortable at some moments, but you have what it takes
Yeah.
to apprehend those moments and to milk them, to see, I always say, see the gift behind the tragedy or whatever is happening. Here it's not that dramatic, but see the gift behind it, because there is always one. When you feel those negative emotions, they are messengers. That's something back. I don't know if you've heard of shadow work. I'm
Mhm.
sure you've
Yep.
heard of shadow work. All those things under the surface that we buried there, they pop up, and they can pop up with food. And this is an indication that you need to address and bring light to that element of yourself if you want to be more in balance. So thank those negative emotions, thank those crazy moments where you are in the uncomfortable feelings, because they lead you exactly. This is a hint to lead you where you need to go.
Oh, I totally love that. It's so true. And it's embracing discomfort is what I call it. You know, like being able to sit in that discomfort with grace for yourself. You
Yes,
know, because when you're not arguing with it, and that's the thing, I think when we resist it, it persists
persist.
even worse. So when we like accept it, and like we know as like entrepreneurs and like putting ourselves out there, it's very uncomfortable. And when I'm
Yes,
things with my business or doing whatever or food, I will just sit there and I will say, this is happening for me. Like,
yeah,
I would, there's nowhere else I'd rather be than sitting in this pain right now.
yes,
That's a thought that I'm choosing, where most people are like, something's wrong. Like, what's wrong with me? I don't want to do this. And they argue with the pain, and then it persists, and then they never change. So like, there's this like, I don't know. I think there's just this beauty with being able to be okay with the discomfort because it's serving a purpose. And when you can move through that discomfort with purpose, there's freedom on the other side. And that's what I teach people with food, is just to, because it's just, they're just avoiding the discomfort. And it's just and that's really what I tell people when they come to work with me. It's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're amazing. You're perfect. You're whole. What is wrong is your thinking, your habits, and you're avoiding pain. Let me just
yes.
fix those three little things, and
Avoiding
everything's
pain.
gonna be, exactly, everything's gonna be fine. And so when you like, when you can take those three skills, your mind, your vibes, and discomfort, it's like magic.
It is really, that's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
really beautiful, because we are magnificent, but there are so many filters in the way of our light that we need to remove them like an artichoke, leaf by leaf.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying. Uh, my favorite question that I ask everyone is about self-love, because to me it's the basis of everything.
Hmm.
But people don't always know what self-love means, so I love giving ideas and point of views or different opinions of what self-love can be. So I would like to ask you, what is self-love for you?
Oh man, that's like a big one. You know, I think it comes down to self-love is accepting who you are at every single moment, that you're whole and complete exactly as you are, and that self-love is accepting what you've been through. It's like having that, like, no matter what, it's like everything is okay. Like, you don't need to get anything to be better. You don't need a man. You don't need whatever, like, to make the money. It's all complete. Everything that you need is inside of you. And I think that when you tap into your resources and you give yourself permission to like be your best person and to like own who you are, I think that's self-love, because that's the love that when you feel your cup so full, that's when it can go to other people,
Yeah.
and that's when life gets good, because that's why we're all here, is to serve and to give to other
Yes.
people. Like, that's all of our purposes on some level, is to like serve and to like be a light and to be a beacon. And so before you can give that to other people, you have to like have your own cupful up. And I think too that like a lot of people are in this like comparison mode of like looking at other people, and I think it's super important just to like stay on your own mat and like appreciate who you are and like your essence of where you are right now, and especially when it comes to body love.
Oh yeah.
A lot of women that they're wanting to lose weight because and they can't, they're overweight, they've been overweight their whole lives, and I'm like, okay, well you have to love where you are right now before you can lose weight. And they like freak out. They're like, well, I can't love my have you seen my body? Have you looked in the mirror? Like, have you seen this fat? And I'm like, yeah, but it's beautiful. And I think that how I lost weight is I learned how to love my body at my heaviest weight, like truly like when I was, my heaviest weight was 198. And when I was at that weight, I had truly had love for myself. And so it just got easier, because when you can love yourself at your worst or your heaviest or whatever, everything just gets easy. And so you just need to accept where you are and actively choose it.
Yes, that's so true. I'm so aligned with what you're saying. You need to do. We're on the same vibe.
I love it. I know, we're having a great conversation. I'm so excited.
Where can people find information about you or contact you? And I'll put it in the description as well.
So best is my website, which is just laurenciesco.com, LaurenCiesco.com. And then I'm super active on Facebook. I have my coaching company is actually called High Vibe Living with Lauren Ciesco. So you can put over on Facebook on that. And then also on Instagram, it's high_vibe_living. So, but I would say like Facebook is like really where I'm at. I do a lot of lives. I do a lot of trainings. I love being out there and sharing this. But also my website, I have a lot of great resources there too.
Great, terrific. So people can go and find you, because this is such a common struggle that is around us. Before we leave, is there any last word you would like to leave the audience with? Any gem, anything you want them to know before anything else? Even though we've said a lot here.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, man, we've like covered so much.
You can come back on something that you think is really, really important.
It all starts. It's all within our beliefs. You know, it's like what you believe you can do, you will achieve. And I think that we're scared to claim really large goals because we're afraid that we're not going to be able to like hit them, or that we don't have hope, or with like weight. And like, I know with people that have been weight their whole time. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change what I'm saying, because in this minute, I'm like, I'm compelled to say something different.
Perfect.
Your past does not equal your future.
Yes, I love this.
I want to say to everybody. Your past does not equal your future. And in fact, you need to not use your past, because what we do as humans is we're like, I haven't been able to lose weight in the past, so I can't do it now. I haven't been able to find love in the past, so I can't do it now. I'm not worthy in the past, so I'm not worthy now. But the truth is that when you're coming from your past and you're using past evidence to determine your future, you're going to get more of your past.
Yeah.
The key is connecting to that future self and getting really, really clear about what that future self is going to do, and using your future self to move you forward, and thinking and feeling and being as if you're already there. And if you wake up every day as if you're your future self, those results are going to come.
Yes, so true. I'm going to leave it at that, because it's totally true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lauren, for being here today with us. There was so much great information in this interview. I really liked it. And go check her out. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And for our audience, check Lauren's website, because you need it. That's it. We all eat, so we all have a relationship with the food. And I'll be there next week with another topic, probably by myself. And I don't know yet what I'm going to talk about, but you'll see. Have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week. Bye. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. And for questions, information, or to book a free 30-minute introductory coaching session, please visit datelikeafrenchwoman.com.